According to the Marshall Project, Florida's Dozier School for Boys, also known as Arthur G. Dozier School, reveals disturbing connections between state-run institutional abuse and later criminal outcomes. At least 34 boys from Dozier and 16 from Okeechobee School Victim Compensation Program later ended up on death row, while many others were convicted of murder but not sentenced. Survivors described beatings, sexual assaults, and psychological abuse so severe that experts believed it altered brain development and increased the likelihood of violence in adulthood. The school was finally shut down in 2011, and only decades later did the state of Florida issue reparations, in which only apologized and gave a $20 million compensation to the victims. Chapter 1 of the criminal justice text emphasized that crime is not simply a bad behavior, but behavior defined and enforced through law. There are no act that is inherently deviant or criminal by nature. Behaviors are labeled criminal through social processes, formalized into legal norms, and punished through sanctions. The conflict perspective introduced in this chapter explains that laws often reflect the interest in those in power. This perspective helps reveal how a so-called reformed school that brutalized children was treated as legitimate authority, while those same children were later punished with society's harshest sanction, execution. The same chapter highlights how victims are frequently neglected by the system. The Dozier case demonstrates a troubling victim-offender overlap. Children, first victimized by the state, later became offenders who created new victims. True justice requires recognition of both groups. Chapter 2 further clarifies these dynamics. The concept of the dark figure of crime. Offenses that go unreported or unrecorded fits directly with abuse inside Dozier, which remained hidden for decades because victims were children under strict control. In addition, the chapter's discussion of child abuse explains why many victims never report. That is because of fear, shame, or a lack of trust in authority. These reasons resonate strongly with the silence surrounding Dozier. The text also contrasts the crime control module with the due process module. Many death row cases involving former Dozier students never fully considered the childhood trauma they endured. This reflects the danger of prioritizing swift punishment over careful fairness. The lesson is clear. Prevention is as critical as punishment. If institutions had safeguarded these boys instead of harming them, both their later victims and the boys themselves might have not been harmed. The Dozier case is a devastating example of what happens when a system that should have prevented harm produces it instead.